This is the Jack Murphy Podcast. Here's your host, Jack Murphy.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Jack Murphy Podcast. I am your humble host, Jack Murphy. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope you'll subscribe and like this video. I got a lot of big news to bring to you today. I got to tell you, yesterday was a real disappointment for me because I had my very good friend Alpha Trevette on the program. We had a wonderful podcast, and then my computer crashed. And nothing that we did yesterday could be saved for today. So a lot of the material that we were going to do yesterday, I'm going to bring to you again today. And I'm hoping Alpha will be back tomorrow. And later this week, I'm very excited about possibly a brand new person who's going to be joining the podcast on a regular basis. First, I want to talk about something. You know, we live in a day and an age where appearance is everything. And obviously, I don't care anymore. I'm so old now, I don't care. I mean, I brush my hair a little bit before coming. I may shower before the podcast. It just depends day to day what I'm going to do. But I have heard of this surgery before, but apparently it's becoming really, really common. Now, for most of my life, I was 5 feet, 10 3/4, right, and I would say 5'11". As I've gotten older and I go in now to get my physical every year and they measure me, I have shrunk almost an inch over the years in the past 30 years. I mean, I didn't notice it. Like, I'll tell you where I noticed it. Like, I actually have some jeans that are that old. I don't wear them very often, but occasionally I'll put them on. And suddenly one day I put on this pair of jeans I've been wearing for 30 years, and I went, how come my jeans are too long? And the answer is, I shrunk. Yeah, I shrunk. Now, I'm not going to go have them altered or anything. I just roll them up a little bit and go on about my business. But there is a surgery that men are putting themselves through. And by the way, your insurance doesn't pay for this. This is all out of pocket. It's an excruciating surgery with an excruciatingly long recovery and requires multiple surgeries. Here's what happens. They break your calves, your calf bone. What's that? That's not the femur. Is it the tibia? I don't know. Anyway, the calf bone, that bone that goes from your knee to your ankle, they break it, and then they put this machine on the outside of your leg, and it pulls it apart, and your body grows new bone. And once it's healed, they do it again and again and again and again until you get as tall as you want. I can't even imagine. Now, maybe, I can't even imagine if you were a little person wanting to go through this, but GQ magazine has interviewed a bunch of people who have had it done, and some of them have grown up to 2 inches and are very happy that they had it done, although they go on and on about how painful it was, and some of them even became addicted to painkillers along the way and had to go to rehab, just as a little bonus to all the pain that you go through in addition to the surgery. By the way, while you people in Pacific Palisades and down on the Pacific Coast Highway struggle to recover after the big fire, 8 months ago now, and I think last time I read 5 or 6 building permits had been issued. If you're still struggling and you're still angry because the $100 million that they raised in that concert for the fire victims and none of the money actually went to the fire victims, you'll be happy to know that your governor, Gavin Newsom, announced Thursday he's sending emergency resources and personnel to Puerto Rico, 3,000 miles away ahead of a tropical storm, even though tens of thousands of Californians are still displaced in his own state because of fire. You know, I'm 67 years old, and the heyday of my life, I guess, was the 1980s. I mean, more happened for me professionally in the 1980s than in any other time. I did more exciting things in the 1980s. met more, celebrities and that kind of thing in the 1980s. So 1980s, that was the pinnacle for me, I guess, professionally anyway. I mean, I had a good career after that, but more great things happened to me during the 1980s than probably at any other time. And if you're my age, the same may be true for you. But I got a list here today of the most famous people of the 1980s, and boy, will it make you feel old. Michael Jordan, number one on the list. Pete Rose, dead. Madonna and Sean Penn. I've got a picture of Sean Penn I'm going to show you later in this podcast. Now, Sean Penn's younger than me, 64. This dude looks 120, I swear. Let's see, number 5, Phil Collins. Loved Phil Collins, loved his music, loved his voice, loved everything about him. And bless his heart, his health is going downhill really rapidly, and I don't know how much longer he'll be with us. Michael J. Fox. We all know the struggles that he's faced. Rock Hudson. I don't remember Rock Hudson being that famous in the 80s, except that there were a lot of rumors about him being gay, which it turned out that he was. Chevy Chase, huge during the 1980s, but recently I've had some people, big directors, important people in Hollywood point out that Chevy Chase was kind of a one-trick pony. His comedy was all the same, and it doesn't hold up. And if you go back and look, it really doesn't. It was a one-trick pony. I mean, we all thought it was funny at the time. We laughed at the movies. We loved the movies. We watched the movies, but it was sort of one-dimensional. Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers, I never really cared for. She was kind of edgy. She was kind of a female stand-up Howard Stern, very edgy. And to this day, Joan Rivers is dead too, but Joan Rivers, right up until her death, could never figure out what she did to piss off Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson she was the fill-in host, she was the heir apparent, and then one day, Johnny Carson just dropped her like a bag of rocks, and she never knew why. She went to him and tried to talk to him. He wouldn't talk to her. Have you ever seen the video where she actually goes to his grave and says, "Why, Johnny? Why? What happened?" I don't know what happened. But anyway, those are some of the people that I wanted to bring up that were famous in the 80s that, boy, does it make you feel old. Well, I pray that this does not happen with this concert, but there's a big concert called the Band Together Texas Benefit Concert. It didn't raise as much as the Fire concert in California. It raised almost $10 million for flood relief for all the people in Texas. And I pray and hope that it actually goes to the victims of the floods, and we don't find out later it goes to a bunch of 501c who have executives making close to 7 figures, and very little of the money actually goes to the people that need it. But there were some great people involved in it. Cody Johnson sang "How Great Thou Art," Miranda Lambert, Parker McCollum, Matthew McConaughey, Mac Brown was there, Roger Clemens was there, Dennis Quaid, Vince Young, Colt McCoy. They all made appearances. Good for them, and I hope I hope all the money goes to where it should go. Now, my big story of the day is this. I read this story yesterday, and I got quite intrigued by it, and I started reading more and more and more about it, and I thought you might be intrigued too. The story is about Kathy Griffin, the former comedian. I say former comedian because I haven't heard her say one thing funny in 15 years. Her downfall, maybe it had already started, but her real downfall started when, right after President Trump got elected the first time, she held up that bloody decapitated head of the president, and it was a joke. She thought it was really funny. And a lot of people and venues and agents and fans decided inappropriate, not funny, and kind of turned their back on her. And she went from living in a $10 million Hollywood mansion to really struggling. She got divorced. She's had some health issues. But she has not stopped bashing President Trump. She blames the whole thing on him. It's not her fault. It's never their fault. It's always somebody else's fault. Excuse me. But anyway, she was married. She got divorced. And so now Kathy has decided that she is going to put herself back out there. She has opened, I don't know, I'm familiar with Tinder. You know, I see these stars all the time. That's the one where you swipe left or you swipe right. I don't know which is which, but she's gotten on Hinge. Ask me, she should be on Unhinged, but she's on Hinge. And she said she's going to find herself a date. She said, I have a lot of fear about men and the entire gender. Now, I'm not sure that's the way you want to approach this, Kathy, to go right off the get-go, say that you have a lot of fear of men and the entire gender. Maybe you want to say, I love men, and I miss being with men, and I'd love to meet a man. I don't know if I'll meet him here on Hinge, but my hopes are high. Maybe approach it like that. But I'm going to also say this, maybe have a professional come in and take a look at some of your photos before you post them up on the Hinge. Now, I'm going to post some pictures of Kathy for you folks at home who are watching the podcast, for you to take a look at and see if any of these photos might procure Kathy a date on Hinge. Let's take a look at this one first. I'm not sure that one's going to bring in a lot of action on the Hinge. Okay, I've got more. Let's take a look at this one. I mean, I wonder if they're even the same people. Either she's wearing those masks like Tom Cruise wears on Mission Impossible, or she has the greatest makeup artist in the history of the world. How about this one? Take a look at this one. That's not going to get it either. And then there's the classic, maybe she can use the Trump photo and find a fellow Trump hater, and this would bring her some action on Hinge. Probably not. And then there is this Kathy Griffin classic. Yeah, I don't know. Now, I didn't know that Kathy had the serious health problems that she has. And I'm really surprised that she had the serious health problems and we didn't hear about it constantly, because she tells us about everything else. She is doing fine now. She wants to get back on the Tinder. And the other thing was, at the end of the article, she said, and this really surprised me, she said, I'm going to have my assistant post for me on Hinge and read the comments, and then we'll see what the consensus is. What shocked me, that she has an assistant. I mean, if you're going to be on Hinge, it's not, I assume it's not that complicated. Millions of people do it. Just do it yourself. Post a picture, a little bio, and then talk to the guys and see where it goes.
Hi, I'm Hillary Clinton, and I'm a dandelion.
Yeah, I found her. She's right here.
By the way, as I predicted on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, that I predicted this podcast would be the most watched one-time podcast event in the history of podcasting, and it was. I'm talking about Taylor Swift appearing on Jason Kelsey's podcast, and it broke all the podcasting records. What we didn't expect was former FBI director and soon-to-be felon James Comey to come out and do a big tribute video to Taylor Swift. James Comey, this is a 60-something-year-old man, comes out and does how do you describe it? A love ode to Taylor Swift and her music, and talks about how he's a Swiftie and he knows her personally, and he's been to concerts, and he's paid for relatives to go to concerts, and he sympathizes with her, and he feels like they're so similar, and you're nothing like her. at all. He's simply trying to get her fans to have some sympathy for him, so when the hammer gets dropped for all the criminal activity he's been involved in, that they might have some sympathy and come out of the woodwork to try to help him. I think that's what's really going on here. But it was just creepy. I mean, go look it up and watch it. It's just plain creepy. So one of the things that Alf and I talked about yesterday that you don't see here is I have this list here, and I hate lists like this. I can't stand it when people spend their entire every waking moment trying to become famous, whether it's an actor or a rock star or a social media influencer or a politician. They spend all their time chasing stardom, chasing money, chasing the limelight, and then once they find it, what do? They complain that I don't get any privacy everywhere I go. I can't even have a meal. People interrupt me and want my autograph, and they want to have just shut up. You wanted it, you asked for it, you got it. It just comes with the territory. You just deal with it, that's all. Just smile, sign the autograph, and say thank you for being a fan. That's all you've got to do. Same thing for you sports guys that work so hard to become big stars you are. Have a little respect for your fans. But I saw this list today, and yesterday I saw it, and it kind of hit me the same way. And it's actors and actresses who they asked them, hey, are there any roles that you took that you now regret taking? And I thought, when you took that role, you probably really needed the money. When you took that role, you didn't have any work, and it helped you feed your family. And some producer, some casting director, some director, whoever, picked you for this role, gave you a shot, and paid you, and now you're going to complain that it wasn't up to my artistic standards. That makes me sick. Everything that you do in life leads up to who you are. If it was something bad, you learn from it. You don't take that next bad part. If it was the way you treated somebody and you realized it was wrong, you don't treat somebody like that again. But here are some of these celebrities and some of the things they're sorry that they did. First one, this one really ticked me off. Viola Davis. She's upset she did that movie, The Help. Now, I'm a white person. I never had a maid growing up, but I watched that movie and I said, I thought, this really highlights the fact that there was a lot of racism. It really highlights the fact that these women, The Help, really had a tough time making it, and that a lot of these white women treated them like crap and were racist. I thought it pointed it out pretty well. Viola said, I felt at the end of the day it wasn't the voices of the maids that were heard, it was catering to the white audience. I thought that's who you're trying to show was racist, the white audience. I don't get it. Timothy Chalamet. Now this young guy, he has shown up everywhere. Most famously in Dune. He played Bob Dylan. But he's unhappy he did A Rainy Day in New York City because it was a Woody Allen film, and Woody Allen's such a horrible person. Well, you were a nobody when Woody Allen gave you that role, and Woody Allen, what would you think about his personal life, was and is considered a brilliant director. So shut up. Zac Efron, who, he's no great actor. He's an extremely handsome, buff young man who's an okay actor. And he gets a lot of roles because of that. And he's complaining that he was in High School Musical when he was a young person about high school age. Go figure. Channing Tatum, G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra. Couldn't agree more. Terrible movie. You should have never done it. Michelle Pfeiffer. Michelle Pfeiffer says she's sorry she did Grease too. Agree 100%. Never should have been there. John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, already had a handle. Some things you just don't mess with. George Clooney. I don't like George Clooney anymore. He's an okay actor. He's a good actor, but I don't he's soured me with his politics. And not the fact that his politics are different than mine, the fact that he tells me how wrong I am and how right he is. That's what soured me. He's sorry he did Batman and Robin. He said he thought at the time it was going to be a good career move. I thought he was an okay Batman, but look, my complaint about that is just pick a Batman and stay with him. How many more Batmans are we going to have? I mean, we've had a bunch of good Batmans. Think about it. 6, 7, and they've all been pretty good. Just pick one Batman, pick one Superman, and let's just stick with him. We don't need 7 different Every time we come out, we wonder if he's going to be a good Batman. I don't know, but the last guy was a pretty good Batman. Why didn't they just bring him back? Ben Affleck, who also was a Batman, by the way, he says Daredevil was a bad movie. No kidding. Who could read the script of Daredevil and think it would be good? A blind guy wearing a purple maroon leather suit around, solving crime, being a superhero. It's dumb on the surface. It was even dumber on the screen. So, yeah, Ben, I agree with you. That was terrible. And finally, Judge Dredd. Sylvester Stallone, he said the biggest mistake I ever made. And I got to tell you, it's right up there. Terrible movie. Even had Sandra Bullock. She couldn't even save that movie. Judge Dredd, I think that was the one where he was like, he was a really tough, bad cop, and he did something, and the punishment back then, they cryogenically froze you. And then crime had gotten so bad, and some criminal from the time he was cryogenically frozen had gotten out, so they decided to unfreeze him to get him out and let him. It was terrible, terrible movie. And like I said, even Sandra Bullock couldn't save that one. Well, folks, that's all the time we have today for the Jack Murphy Podcast. I thank you for being a part of it. I ask you to please, for the benefit of my little grandchildren, who are doing just fine and their parents have good jobs, but if I make you think that I'm supporting them in some way, maybe you'll subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 200 subscribers. Have you seen some of the garbage out there that has 200 subscribers? It's embarrassing for me personally. So please like and subscribe to the Jack Murphy Podcast and tell a friend. And we'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with my friend Alpha Trevette in tow. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching the Jack Murphy Podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Go ahead, ring it. Get alerts when a new episode drops. And tell your friends about the Jack Murphy Podcast. But only the cool friends, please. Tune in next time for another episode of the Jack Murphy Podcast.